How you all doing? My name is Pradeep and welcome to my channel Gaming with Claire. I have not uploaded a video in a while. The last video I uploaded was unboxing this exact setup and setting it up. Now, since then I kind of did not use it much, so I was more towards Warzone and other FPS games. Now most of y'all know how Warzone 2 is actually doing right now. I'm not actually enjoying the game anymore. So then I decided why not I try something else. So then I decided to give a shot to Forza Horizon 5, a set of course, and a couple other sim racing games. And I'm kind of enjoying those, so that way I decided to turn myself totally towards the sim racing games. Now obviously I gotta build a setup for that as well, right? So for now, just for the starters, I'm trying to turn my existing setup into a sim racing setup, so that way I can stay on a budget and I don't go out spending too much and I can still enjoy the games as well. As you guys already read the title, that I will be explaining everything which I have in my setup, and it's probably is the most budget beginners setup here, except my computers. They're totally out of the subject, because you can really have a low end or a mid-range PC for this game. You don't really have to go for what I have in there. That was specifically designed and built for something else, because I'm a computer nerd. I build computers. I build computers for customers. I own a business for doing that, and for myself, I just love to go up high-end stuff, so that's why I built that PC. We're gonna start from the hardware, what I have in there. The next step will be the specs of my PC, and the third will be my settings in Forza Horizon 5. Without further ado, let's dive into this video. Alright, so let's start with my hardware. Middle monitor is my gaming monitor, which is the Asus TUF Gaming 1440p 165Hz monitor. On the right, that is an AOC 1920 by 1080p monitor. It is 165Hz as well. That monitor right there is a 60Hz VenQ 24-inch 1080p monitor. Now these two side monitors are connected to my streaming PC, which is sitting all the way down there. And the middle monitor is connected to my gaming PC. And this small screen is my sensor panel. I can leave a link down below for this one. It's from Amazon. And that monitor, this monitor, and my capture card right here is all connected to my gaming PC, which means I have 3 screens connected, 2 actual screens and 1 virtual screen connected to my gaming PC. So moving towards my gaming PC, for the spec wise, we got a G790 motherboard, ROG Strix White, with a 13900K with a RTX 3090. For the RAM, we got 64 gigs of DDR4 Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. With the fans, we got Leon Lee's SL Infinity fans. I got total of 19 fans in this setup. Now I also have the Leon Lee's 360mm AIO as well to cool this PC. So that's the specs for my gaming PC. For my streaming PC, we got a 12700K in an old Cooler Master half case, which is sitting down there. It's a 12700K and a 3060 with it, 32 gigs of RAM. So that's my streaming PC specs, which is more than enough to do my streaming part. So that's my hardware for the gaming and streaming. Now moving towards the wheel setup. Now over here we have a Logitech G29 wheel. It comes with a wheel and the paddles are down there. And where it's mounted, it's a GT Omega stand. I believe that's what it is pronounced as. I'm gonna leave a link for this as well. I bought this from Amazon as well. Now we also have a manual shifter, which you do have to buy separately. It is compatible with the G29, and I believe it is compatible with the other versions of Logitech as well. Now we also have a third-party handbrake. Now this is also from Amazon. I'm gonna leave a link down below for this one as well. All the links will be down below. Now this is my current basic steering wheel setup, which is okay for beginners. I have seen a lot of big streamers as well using the same exact setup. Now I'm probably gonna switch to Thrustmaster eventually down the road. Now what I'm looking into is getting a direct drive steering wheel, which are really expensive, but that is my future goal, because they have a realistic force feedback, and that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm using this office chair for now. It is not comfortable at all. In about 2 hours while I'm gaming or whatever, I will start feeling numbness in. This is it for now. And for the cameras, I am using Logitech Brio 4K as my face cam, and I'm also using a Logitech C923. I believe that's the name for this card. It is a 1080p camera, so it is pointing out at my setup, which is also a bottom cam for my setup, and that is pointed at my face to give my face cam. I live stream on Twitch and TikTok at the same time. So this is my current setup right now. And this is not the greatest setup, but yeah. Now we're gonna move towards the settings, what I have in my game and also in the Logitech G Hub app. But first I'm gonna show you guys what I have in the game itself, then I'm gonna show you guys what I have in my Logitech G Hub app. So if I go towards settings part here and show you guys the advanced controls, so this is where I have done a little bit of settings. Now these settings are specifically copied from a lot of YouTube channels and a lot of stuff, so basically I have not perfected them, but these are the settings, seems to be working fine for me. Now if you guys feel like that I should be changing something in here, please let me know in the comment section, or you guys can DM me or anything like that, so I can kind of like adjust these settings which can better my controls and everything for my cars. So let's hop into it. So over here, first on the start, I have vibrations on. You can turn it off as well, it's really up to you. Now I have not done anything here. All these settings are kind of like left to the default settings unless you go down to, so this is where I have made some changes. So for my e-brake, now it really depends on if you guys have the e-brake or not. So for my, I have an e-brake, so what I have done is, so basically what happens is if I have my dead zone a little bit higher, it's gonna require more e-brake input. What was happening is as soon as I tried to apply the e-brake, like a little bit of pull on the e-brake will activate it immediately. So what I did, I ended up raising it up a little bit, so that way when I try to do the e-brake, it's actually asking for me to give a little bit more input. That's gonna adjust while I'm gaming and stuff like that. So at that point I'm like already in the rush, right? And in the meantime, it's like really hard to control one while you're learning. So rather than me pressing and pulling it all the way, so doesn't matter if I pull it a little bit more, it's not even gonna recognize it. By the time I feel like I'm pulling e-brake, that's when it's gonna start recognizing. So that way, which means eventually the e-brake will be applied less and I will have more control over the car rather than like oversteering it and spinning it off. So that's where I made some changes. It's really up to you how you feel like. You can kind of like play with it. You can raise it a little bit or you can lower it a little bit if you feel like you have to press the e-brake too much for it to actually activate. And also it's going to depend on the quality of your e-brake, what kind of e-brake you're going with. This is just a knockoff e-brake, and it's been working really great for me, but still you may have a different e-brake and that e-brake may have different inputs on it. So it really depends on what kind of e-brake you have. So moving forward, vibration scale, I have it set as 0.5, and force feedback scale, I have set it as a 0.8. Now my center spring is at 1.1. I did copy these settings from one of a couple of the YouTube channels. Now all of them had the mixed opinions on these settings. These settings are specifically for different purposes, if you're doing like a drifting or if you're trying to play it free roam or what you're trying to do. So I picked up in the middle of those because I also want to do free roam and I also want to do some drifting. So I kind of like picked up the middle settings. You can really change these. So if you feel like your steering wheel is too light, just raise it a little bit. If you feel like steering wheel is too heavy, you can lower it a little bit. So that's how these two settings work. Now wheel dampener scale is the same thing. It implies with those two above settings as well. I have it set to 1.2. Try 1.2, and if you feel like it's like heavier for you, you can lower it a little bit down. Now mechanical trail scale, I have it set to 1.2. I have not changed it. And force feedback minimum force, basically this means is while I'm cruising like on a normal speed and stuff, I don't want to fight with the steering wheel. I want the steering wheel to work with me, not like fighting me. So at this point basically is I have it at 0.5 to while I'm like at the normal speed. As soon as I raise my speeds, that's where like load sensitivity, when there's a load on it, I have it set to 1.2. So basically at that point, my steering wheel will be a little bit heavier to give me that control. You can lower it if you feel like it's too heavy, or you can raise it if you feel like it's too light for you. Now road feel scale, these are the two settings. On this game, it's really hard to control and master the cars on off-roading. Now what I have done is I basically lowered down the road feel scale and the off-road feel scale. Basically what happens is my off-road feel scale is, it's not gonna like do this and this, like crazily move my steering wheel, so that way I kind of have the more control on it rather than like losing my steering wheel and losing my control over the car as well. Now you guys will see that in the next video, that I most likely will compare it before these settings, and I'll also compare it with after the settings. Like I was really super bad, I would lose the car immediately, but after these settings it kind of improved me a little bit. So these are the settings so far. Now I'm gonna move towards the Logitech G Hub app as well. Now, as I mentioned before, these settings are all copied from YouTube channels, and I've also done my own adjustments a little bit while I was playing on those. So let me show you guys real quick. So if I go up here, so if you look right here, my sensitivity is set to 40 and my operating range is set to 540. Now sensitivity is basically how sensitive your steering wheel is and how fast it's reacting to your movement. These settings can apply to most of the steering wheels in this range. You have to adjust the sensitivity according to the steering wheel you may have. Now this is the beginner's basic steering wheel, so I had to do all these adjustments to make it like compatible with what I want to do with it. Now eventually, if you guys go with something heavier or better quality, you may not even have to touch the sensitivity, but you can lower the sensitivity if you feel like your steering wheel is like acting too fast before your turns and stuff. So I lowered it so that way I can have better control over the car. All these settings are eventually connecting me to having more control over the car rather than the car overpowering me. I want to have my power, my control over the car itself on my steering wheel as well. So if you guys made it all the way to the end and you did like the video, please leave a comment down below. I know this setup is not even close to be a good setup. And I completely agree with that part, because this is just a basic starter setup. Other than my computers, that they're designed for video editing and other stuff, that's totally separate part. Now, as I mentioned in the video, that I'm saving up money for upgrades and stuff, which will be in the future, because I still have bills and everything to pay. So yeah, that there's a lot to do right there. So before I start making any huge investments into the racing simulation setup, so which I'm going to, because I'm planning to get my house, and in my house the basement will be just for my racing simulations and everything. Now right now I'm living in an apartment building, it's a small room, so can't really do much. I'm limited to what I have around me. So yeah, that's about it. Please leave comments down below of the suggestions and everything what you guys have. Give me some suggestions what I can upgrade in this setup so that I could get the best out of these games. And also, if you guys want to recommend me some games, for sure, go ahead and leave them comment down below. Now, last thing, which is most important, if you guys want to drive with me in Forza Horizon 5, basically teaching me, not just like driving with me, teaching me how to play Forza Horizon 5, how to drift it in, how to control the car, please DM me, add me up, leave a comment down below, your username, I'll add you up. Like, just leave a username, I'll do all the tasks, I'll add you guys up, I'll DM you, I'll follow up with you guys. I would really love to learn this game, because at this point I'm trying to go all in for sim racing games, and the Forza is where I want to start from. I've never played any other Forza. The Forza Horizon 5 is where I started from. Before that, I owned a PlayStations, and PlayStation did not have Forza Horizon 5, and none of the Forzas were there. So I did play it in like Need for Speed and other racing games on a controller. Even though playing Forza Horizon 5 on a controller and a keyboard is much easier than playing on a steering wheel setup, but this is the thing. It is much more fun to play with a steering wheel setup in a sim racing setups rather than playing on a controller. I don't know, it's just my personal opinion, and I want to master that thing. Probably in a year or so, we'll probably have our really great, like a 3-monitor wide system and a proper motion system, like a motion cockpit and everything, with like the proper vibrations and everything, like the natural feeling sim racing setup, which probably in a year or so, and that's my future goals and stuff as well. But for now, this is it. And the next video will be me doing some shenanigans in the gameplay. Like, there will be some gameplay videos and stuff, which will be out in a day or two. So don't forget to subscribe and like and comment this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.